Thank you, Mr. President. I move that final consideration of the commemoration honoring the 75th anniversary of the dedication of the current state capitol be made a special order of business immediately.
Senator Rosenbaum has moved that the final consideration of the commemoration honoring the 75th anniversary of the dedication of that current state capitol be made a special order of business immediately. To your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is a very wonderful occasion that will allow us to get ready for the commemoration for the anniversary of our precious capital, and by passing this motion, we'll take it up immediately. Thank you.
A discussion of the motion. All those in favor of the motion will please say aye. Aye. And those opposed, no. This motion has carried. We will now proceed to the special order of business. The clerk will read the commemoration in its entirety.
Whereas on December 30th, 1855, fire swept through a newly occupied Oregon State House, completely destroying the structure, and whereas another Oregon State House patterned after the United States Capitol was completed in 1876, and whereas on April 25th, 1935, fire again destroyed the elegant Oregon State House, and whereas after thorough discussion, the decision was made to rebuild the state capitol on the original site, and whereas over 100 designs were submitted for the new building, and whereas the design by Francis Keeley from the New York firm of Trowbridge and Livingston was chosen, and whereas the current state capitol was dedicated on October 1st, 1938, and whereas the building materials include marble from Vermont, polished raised travertine from Montana, Phoenix Napoleon gray marble from Missouri, and whereas the state capitol houses the office of the entire legislative branch, the ceremonial offices of the governor, secretary of state, and state treasurer, and whereas spacious hearing rooms provide Oregonians an opportunity to participate in the legislative decision-making and to view state government at work, whereas massive marble sculptures depicting Oregon history surround the exterior of the building, whereas the Oregon Pioneer statue weighing 8 1/2 tons, cast in bronze and finished in gold leaf, crowns the top of the building, and whereas the interior of the state capitol has many historical murals illustrating events in Oregon's past, and whereas the seal of the provisional government is above the grand staircase leading to the Senate chamber, and whereas the territorial seal is above the grand staircase leading to the House of Representatives chamber, and whereas the vision of the Oregon State Capitol Foundation is to create a living history and to enhance the dignity and beauty of the state capitol, and whereas the Oregon State Capitol Foundation recognizes the state capitol as a treasure to be safeguarded, and whereas in celebration of the 75th anniversary of the dedication of the state capitol, an event planned to commemorate this special milestone on October 1st, 2013, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate in session assembled under Article 3, Section 4 of the Oregon Constitution, that we, the members of the Senate of the 77th Legislative Assembly, honor and celebrate the 75th anniversary of the state capitol, and be it further resolved that a copy of this commemoration shall be sent to each member of the Oregon congressional delegation and to each state legislature of the United States.
I'll now recognize Senator Ted Ferrioli, who will carry the commemoration.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, you heard the reading clerk read the resolution in its entirety, but I think it bears a little scrutiny, a little thought about the incredible Capitol building that we inhabit. You need do nothing more than to step into the Capitol rotunda and gaze upward at the most incredible frieze that's on the rotunda and the mural, the beautiful Oregon Rotunda painting, to send your mind reeling and your heart soaring. This is such a beautiful building, and there are so many details, architectural and historic, embedded in this building that I'd like to call attention to just a couple of them. The Oregon Pioneer statue that sits atop the building was sculpted by Ulrich Eilerhausen. It was cast in bronze and finished with gold leaf, incredibly paid for by the pennies of Oregon school children that were gathered penny by penny until enough was available to completely clad the Oregon Pioneer in gold. This statue has a base of 23 feet. It's 140 feet above the ground. It's 23 feet in height. It's reached by a precarious and adventuresome journey of over 121 steps across a framework of metal staircase, including a spiral staircase that will inspire awe in itself. There are other details that are absolutely incredible. The Oregon State Seal is embedded under the Capitol Rotunda, and it is worthy of any heraldry that any state has. The details tell the story of Oregon, the pioneering, the settlement, the declaration that Oregon would in fact be American, the withdrawal of the British, the pioneering history, including the settlement of Oregon, its incredible agricultural bounty, the fact that fish still swim in our streams, elk still roam the hillsides, and it is well worth the extra attention you might pay to the details of the Oregon State Seal. Those are just two of the most incredible details, but throughout the Capitol you'll see marble statuary, marble sculptures, and other details hidden in little niches everywhere. So I urge you to take the time to look carefully at your Capitol building, including even in this room. If you take a look at the border of the ceiling, you'll notice the names of the many people who had some role to play in the creation of the Oregon that we inherited. They were either influential in decisions that opened the Oregon Territory, they were pioneers and discoverers and explorers, and they were other people who contributed to the march forward of Oregon into history. I think we're privileged to have the names of those folks to remind us of the importance of the work that we do in this building. So, colleagues, as we adopt this commemoration, let's be cognizant and mindful of the incredible heritage that we have that physically expresses itself in this incredible building. And Mr. President, if I may, I now yield to Senator Rosenbaum, who will help with the commemoration.
I will, on discussion, I now recognize Senator Diana Rosenbaum.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. It is my great pleasure to be able to join with the good senator in bringing you this commemoration today. You know, it was appropriate that someone earlier mentioned the light that's shining through the windows, although at the moment I see some clouds might have passed in front of the sun, but indeed it is much lighter than it has been in here, because this building is not just a beautiful symbol and one that will be turning 75 years old shortly, but it also means something in the life of every Oregonian, whether it's a lifelong Oregonian or a child just coming to the Capitol for the first time. It's their Capitol too, and even more, it belongs to every one of those Oregonians. So it is particularly appropriate that we're going to be having a celebration for the 75th anniversary, and there are going to be a lot of wonderful events. Earlier, just a couple of weeks ago, Senator Ferrioli and I were able to join with one of the House members in judging a cake contest to commemorate the anniversary. That person who won the cake contest is going to be baking a much bigger cake for our celebration here, which will take place on October 1st. And before that, we also will be having a lighting of candles around the dome on the Capitol. That'll start on September 28th and will happen every night during the time that we're having this commemoration. So this building, as was said in the resolution that was read already, is really a treasure to be safeguarded. It is part of the living history and the dignity and beauty of our state capitol. Will be a great occasion, one that I hope will be joined by very, very many of our citizens in Oregon, because as I said earlier, it's their capital, not just our capital, and I join you, I'm sure, in looking very much forward to this occasion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further discussion? Okay. The question now arises on the adoption of the commemoration. All those in favor will answer aye as their names are called, and all those opposed no. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Barrett Sugar? Yes. Bates? Byer? Boquist? Burdick? Close? Devlin? Dingfelder? Edwards? Ferrioli? George? Gerard? Hansel? Hass? Johnson? Knope? Cruz. Monas Anderson. Monroe. Olson. Przanski. Roblin. Rosenbaum. Shields. Starr. Steiner Hayward. Thompson. Whitsitt. Winters. President Courtney. Excused: Bates, Byer, Boquist, Monroe, Starr. 25 aye votes.
The commemoration has been adopted.